Hello, everybody. This is the Winning in Winnipeg podcast, where I talk to top performing business owners, executives, entrepreneurs, and local Winnipeg celebrities. I get to learn who they are and how they think, and I get to hear their perspective about what's really going on in Winnipeg and their businesses. Today, I'm pleased to have the owner of Prairie Plaster, Tyler Barrett. Tyler has quickly become one of Winnipeg's most sought-after finishers, specializing in gorgeous plastering designs. Tyler has made great relationships with designers all over the city that insist that he is brought in to do their project, particularly for his work in the fine art of Venetian plaster. I have had the pleasure of working with Tyler, and not only does he do incredible work and is a pleasure to work with, but has quickly grown his brand to one that people are not only noticing, but demanding to have on their projects. I'm excited to dive into way more with him here and hear more about what he has to say. Tyler, thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right, man. So I'm excited to talk to you not only about how you've started this like incredibly niche, business, to Venetian plaster and interior finishing. But it also seems that your business is kind of blown up over the last few years, right?
It has, yeah.
So I want to hear all about that. Before getting into Prairie Plaster, take me through what it looked like, growing up, coming out of school, and really diving into the workforce.
Yeah, I had no idea I was going to be in construction. No
Really?
clue. My dad tried to get me to help him with stuff around the house as a kid.
Okay.
Just like carpentry, electrical. We did some renovations in our house. I had no interest in it though.
Okay.
I was more of like artist, musician, and I just, it wasn't till later on that I found an interest in it. I was working in restaurants for a long time, from teenager till my mid-20s.
Here in Winnipeg?
Here in Winnipeg, but also I lived in Brandon for a little bit.
Okay.
Went to university for classical guitar, and then
No way.
Moved out to Toronto and Niagara Falls. When was this? Around 2010.
Okay.
And I just wasn't making enough money.
Yeah.
And you work so hard in restaurants. And I was like, if I could work hard, but make the money I want to make, that would be ideal. So I ended up taking this course in Welland, Niagara College. It was just basic construction techniques.
Yep.
It's a 1-year certificate program. And the hands-on for the course was great because it was a Habitat for Humanity house.
Okay.
So we showed up to site. It was just a hole in the ground, and we made the footings, poured the concrete, did the framing, pretty much everything. We touched on everything except for electrical and plumbing.
Okay.
So those were their own trades in the college.
Yep.
But then I was drawn for some reason to drywall and taping. I don't know what it was. It was just calling to me. And when I moved back to Winnipeg, I looked for that type of work, and I ended up getting an apprenticeship as a taper with a large commercial drywall company.
Beautiful.
And that was in. I was making, what was it, $15, $16 an hour to start. That was the most money I ever made in my life. I was on top of the world. I was like learning all these new things and just fell in love with it.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah. Are you from Winnipeg initially?
Yep.
Okay. So working in drywall, right? Not an easy
no
trade.
I know.
Right?
Even my friend,
rough trade.
When I asked him before, he's like, "Why do you want to get into drywall?"
That's a good question. Like, why? That's what do you take me through? Like, why drywall? What attracted you to it?
Especially the taping. I remember seeing tapers on sites sometimes. When like a store is under construction or something, and I was watching them work. I just thought it was so cool what they were doing, and I think that kind of spoke to that childhood artist. That was like, you can do that as a profession. You can work with your hands and make things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was really cool.
Well, coming from, it doesn't surprise me one bit that you're a musician, classical guitar. And for when I look at the stuff that you do now, like it's very artistic, right? It's very creative.
Yeah.
Now growing up, were you ever entrepreneurial? Did you ever think that you were going to be opening up something of your own?
Maybe, yes. And when I look back now, I knew that I was really bad at keeping jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that is part of the entrepreneurial spirit, is not being able to work for other people. So I didn't really see it at the time, but I think I needed to work for myself.
Yeah.
But then, once after restaurants, I think I just felt very motivated and I was excited to learn these things. My work ethic changed quite a bit. I became very responsible. I was like the hardest worker there.
Mm-hmm.
And my employers saw that. But there was this shift. I grew out of it and needed to go out on my own.
So was there an aha moment? Was there a light bulb that went off? Was there a big blowout firing, walking off the job?
No.
Or did it just kind of slowly transform into this idea?
Very slow. I didn't even know all this was going to happen.
Okay.
It wasn't planned or even a goal. It just kind of happened. So there's a funny saying, just to kind of switch subject for a minute. Back in 2011, I believe, I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Beautiful.
Judo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Still training. And there's a saying from Hicks and Gracie. It's flow with the go instead of go with the flow.
Okay.
Because things are just happening. There just is a go, and you have to flow with it. So I kind of take that to where Prairie Plaster started. Things at work were getting pretty boring.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw on Instagram that there was this thing called Venetian plaster. I had no idea what it was. But then I think, now this is really artistic. Like I thought taping was cool, but this is like next level.
It is, yeah.
Right? And looking into it, I saw that there were courses available. I was originally going to travel to Toronto,
mm-hmm.
but there was one in Regina. I thought that's a bit closer. I can just drive there.
Mm-hmm. The booming metropolis of Regina.
Yeah. So I took a long weekend vacation from my day job to go take this course just out of interest. I didn't know anything could be done with it. I was just really into taping, plastering. Oh, excuse me. And wanted to know what this thing was. So I take the course, I come back, tell my friends about it. They think, oh, that's so cool. Can you do that in my house? So I'm like, sure, yeah. If you cover the material, I'll just come do it.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend had me do his ceiling. We had done lots of samples in the course. And after the course, I continued to make lots of samples. And my friend's ceiling was coffered ceiling. Okay. So when I looked up at it and thought about it, I'm thinking, these are just large samples everywhere. They're just squares. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Posted that on Instagram. And then a designer saw it. And so they messaged me saying, hey, we have a fireplace that we want this in. And I think, okay, yeah,
mm-hmm.
let's do it. And that's just kind of how it started. It really just snowballed from there.
So what year did you take the Venetian Plaster
That would have been 2017.
Okay.
And 18. I went back.
Right.
Because they had the curator of this product come from Italy, Michael DeToni.
Okay.
To teach like a master class.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great to learn right from the source.
Yeah.
And Yeah, it's just been getting busier and busier every year.
To your knowledge, is there anyone else in Winnipeg doing it?
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a few of us. We all know each other.
Yeah.
We all talk to each other, and it's good. It's like a friendly competition, because we are in competition with each other, but we all kind of realize that it's so niche. For it to grow, we need to work together in some kind of way, right?
Yep.
So there's lots of times where one of us will be too busy and we'll refer each other. And there's just like a lot of respect for each other and what we do, because there's not many of us doing it.
No, that helps a lot, especially when you're growing it. You know, that just a growing tide raises all boats, right? So you guys will just, and I mean the fact that you guys do it so well. I won't talk about anyone else.
Thanks.
The fact that you do it so well, the product just. I don't want to say it sells itself, but your work sells itself. Let's put it that way.
Thank you.
Like it's just, it's so unique. It looks so, it adds so much dynamic.
Yeah. Every job is different. Even if it's the same product, same color.
Yeah.
I can never replicate it the same way. So
that's right. So take me through what Venetian plaster is and why it's so different.
Well, it's a lime-based plaster. And so it does this. It's called the lime cycle.
Okay.
Where it starts as a limestone. They cook it, fire it at like 1,500, 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit or something. Mm-hmm. And that releases carbon dioxide, turns into, sorry to get all sciencey here.
Let's nerd out.
We'll keep
Let's
it short.
Get nerd out.
Turns into quicklime.
Yep.
You rehydrate it with water. That becomes sort of like a slaked lime. And that can sit, as long as it's underwater in the pail, that will last forever. And there's some companies that will have 25-year-old pails of lime plaster. And I would love to try using one.
Crazy.
They're probably just so creamy and easy to work with.
Yeah.
But so then once you apply that to the wall, the water evaporates. It reabsorbs carbon dioxide. Mm-hmm. And it turns back into a limestone. So it kind of does this full circle, which is really cool.
No kidding.
And just being aware of that and understanding how the product works and why it works the way it does, then I can apply it a certain way. Mm-hmm. And also, like, to do it artistically, you have to know the technical side, but also the artistic side, mm-hmm. in order to make the finish what it is.
Right.
People will say, they'll touch it and it feels cool and it's smooth. Mm-hmm. And they say, oh, it looks like stone. And it really, though, it is.
Yeah. That's what initially got me.
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of felt foolish because you look at it and it looks like you're going to feel this texture, and then you touch it and it's like this silky, smooth stone.
Yeah, it's a beautiful product.
Oh man,
I love it.
It had me at hello. What has the growth looked like over the last few years?
Well, you're in construction too, so mm-hmm. you know how it goes. It's everything at once and then nothing. Mm-hmm. And so throughout the year, it ends up being steady.
Yep.
But there were some, especially this year and the year before, where I was going cross-eyed. I couldn't handle it myself. I shouldn't have been handling it myself. I was able to hire someone this year.
Beautiful.
To finally
Congratulations.
Help me.
Yeah.
Thanks. And it was a good fit because we used to work together too.
Nice.
He was a taper as well at the same company. So he already knew how to use the trowel. He was just becoming more familiar with the product and how it works.
Yeah.
But it was that first year, it was the job for my friend. And the next year, I think it was for one or two designers or builders.
You were still doing your drywall job?
Full time.
Okay.
So this was, Prairie Plaster was just a side hobby at the time. And I thought it was cool that designers wanted it.
Yep.
I started thinking, well, maybe this could be something. Around the third year, when it was a little more consistent, I was doing a couple of months. I thought, I want to get this to the point where this is all I'm doing.
Yep.
And I was able to do that last year in April.
Nice.
Yeah. I was working downtown. Oh, so this too. So I'm working full time, doing this on the evenings and weekends. And I just couldn't handle it anymore. You can't work all the time.
Yep.
I just have no life.
Yep.
So I was hourly at this company. I ended up switching to piecework. So they just give you however much footage you want to take on, certain amount of suites in a multifamily building or something, and you have a deadline. So now I have the flexibility of scheduling because I can come and go as I please as long as I meet that deadline. And if I'm too busy with plaster, then I just take on less footage at work.
Perfect.
It was great. It was the ideal situation. I was very lucky actually to have that situation. But then as it continues to get busier, I had to make a choice one day. We were working downtown, these large apartment buildings. They had it all set up so that each floor was on a schedule and the painters were right behind the tapers. And I was supposed to move up a floor. So that Friday I sanded, finished everything. And I had to go down to my foreman and say, I can't take on any more work. I would have liked to have given him, the 2 weeks notice, but how it happened, I just couldn't.
You straight up mic drop that.
Yeah.
Trial drop.
Trial drop. No. But he was very understanding because I spoke about it at work. Everyone knew what I was doing.
Yep.
And he was great about it. You could tell that he was disappointed. He's upset, and it kind of put him in a position where he's like, well, now I need to find somebody.
Yep.
But he's like, good for you. Like, you need to go try this.
Yeah.
And I hope you do well. So
Yeah.
it was really nice to get that feedback.
Well, that's
from him.
awesome. One thing I really like so I listen to a lot of podcasts, read a lot of stories about people and their journeys and stuff like that. One of the coolest things is like your story is very similar to how many people's story that have, their full-time job, and then they get an inkling of something that, hey, I like doing this, and start to build it up.
Yeah.
And that's really, you get to this precipice of now I have to make a decision as far as, do I keep living with this madness?
Yeah.
Right. Like I came to the same thing. I was a firefighter in the city here for 11 years. And it was a real big decision of do I quit and keep building and build the company? Cause you only have so much focus, right?
Yeah.
You only have so much time and energy and stuff like that. So, when people are listening and they're listening to your story, right, saying, okay, well, when is that right time to move? So how did you make that decision? Was it just that you thought you'd have enough work? Was it to a point where you just weren't stressing too much about the risk? Or
I was stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Well, I should thank my partner actually.
Okay.
That's funny. I knew what I needed to do.
Yeah.
But she just reminded me, reinforced it, She's like, this is what you should be doing. Like,
Yeah.
I can see it as an outsider looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
This is the next step.
Yeah.
And that included the switch to piecework, which helped my schedule flexibility, going out on my own, as well as hiring that employee. So
Yeah.
she's been a great help, very, very supportive. I was worried though. I didn't know if it was going to be enough work or if it wasn't, but I knew that I was sick of the dust with taping. So that was enough.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's really, especially in trades like drywall, especially stuff where it's very repetitive, right? So you can get proficient at it. You can become the best at it. And if you can't get to that place where you're just like challenging yourself somewhere else, if it becomes about that, then it's really tough to feel stagnant in it, right? And coming from a place, I guess I'm speaking for you, but it sounds like you're saying like you're a very creative person, and there's only so much creativity that goes into drywalling once you've gotten really good at it, right? Like you can get more efficient. You can, your lines can get great. You can get amazing at sanding, and you can become the best at it. But after a while, it's what next?
Yeah.
And especially somebody who's found something so cool and so niched down that it seems like everyone is really, anyone who sees this product touches it. Like, everyone who came into our place that you did was just loving it. Awesome. So where do you find most of your clients come? Is it from designers? Is it word of mouth? Is it?
Yeah, now it is just through designers mostly. Because I did a lot of running around in the beginning, making all these sample boxes and going out and delivering them to designers, builders, or I would take them to show homeowners as well. In the beginning, it was a lot of Instagram because of people were just seeing what I was posting.
Yep.
But now that I've developed...
Were you dropping these things off cold? Like, would you just be like, hey, I'm Tyler. I have this cool thing. Can you look at it?
Yes.
So good.
Which was scary. I got a lot of just, no, not interested.
Yep.
And well, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Because, and that's the thing too, is like, I love doing this so much. I don't want to work with people that aren't interested in it.
Yep.
I've never, well, I shouldn't say never. I have bought a couple ads before, like in the beginning. But now, like, I don't try to push it. I don't try to advertise it. Like you said, it kind of almost sells itself. Like the product is just beautiful. And the people that love it.
Yep.
And if they want it, they're going to get it. So.
Yeah. So you're in with designers. How have you found that relationship? Is it different than with any other trade or design aspect of it? Like architects, are you finding that architects are speccing it? Interior designers, are there builders that are speccing it?
I've had one architect spec it, which was lots of paperwork because they want to know all the information about it, the MSDS, everything that would need to be on site.
Yep.
Whereas, sometimes it's a little more laid back with a homeowner that just wants it in their home and they don't need all that information.
Do the bulk of your jobs or clients, are they through like the general public or is most through builders and interior designers, like new build?
Yeah, most is new builds with designers or renovations.
Yeah.
Cause I've over the years developed those relationships.
Yep.
And so they know me, they know the product, and they'll either spec something that they already know, or even recently I did one, they kind of gave me like a inspiration photo. They're like, can you do something like this? I'm like, yes. Yeah. Just something, something different, something unique. Don't get me wrong. I love doing all the finishes that I do, but I do a lot of white. I do a lot of gray.
Yeah.
A lots of matte finishes.
Right.
It's just different, but that's where we live, I think, too.
Yeah.
If you go, say, to Miami or LA, the Venetian plaster down there is very flashy, very high gloss, lots of bright colors and crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas here, yeah, it's lots of neutrals, more matte. But I think that's just, it's just who we are. We're a little more, not reserved, but like there's kind of like a humbleness.
Yep.
To the people here. So
yeah, absolutely. I saw you were taking through the reconstruction of some crown molding.
Oh, yeah.
And you did an excellent job of
thank you.
storylining that
Right.
for everyone. How much of that kind of plastering stuff is prevalent in Winnipeg and that you're doing?
I get a lot of emails about it, but there's quite a few that I just can't do. If I'm thinking of the one that you brought up, was that the egg and dart?
You created a mold.
Like the silicone mold?
That's right.
This one, this is going to be, people can listen. I was in over my head for this.
It looked incredible.
I felt like I was.
Okay, yeah.
Because before then, I had only made basic ones with the sheet metal and the wood pieces.
Yep.
So you can run in place or on a bench. And those would get installed later. But this had so many details in it. The egg and dart and all these... It was so ornamental. I was looking up at it and I thought, well, I know what needs to be done. But I have never done this before. But I was up for the challenge. So it just took a lot of research of where do I get the silicone? What type of silicone do I need to get? How do you support the mold? Like how do you make this thing so that I can reproduce it? And then finding the right plaster materials. Not sure I did exactly, but you can't get the exact same things anymore. So I just got casting plaster from FBM.
Yep.
Embedded it with burlap for some extra strength.
Yep.
And we just made, it was about a 4-foot section because there were 2 different trims.
It just repeated.
They repeated, but they didn't line up.
Even better.
Yeah, they lined up every 44 inches or something like that, 45 inches. It was really strange. It was offset, or they were different sizes or something.
Yeah.
And so I can make these pieces, but then to put them up, I have to know exactly where to cut them so that the pattern continues. And it was a lot of work, but a lot of fun. It was really good.
I think it was so cool. So if you would have just posted a single picture of it, probably wouldn't have been that cool.
No.
Even a single video, okay, that would have been cool. But you storylined it and you created this, like you documented what you were doing, which completely sucked me in. Like
cool.
I still remember to this day, right? And so how do you look at social media? How have you been able to whether you think you do it well or not, you're still doing it. Is it, what's your intention with it? Have you thought about strategies, anything like that? Take me through it.
Love-hate relationship with social media. Not great at it.
You think?
No?
No, you think that,
I
right?
think, yeah.
Well, I think others would disagree.
I think that because I feel like there's so much more I could be doing, but you can't do everything.
That's right.
But I have ideas of videos and more like storyline videos of the process, the behind the scenes of how does it look like this? Because it's cool to see the finished product, but how do you get there?
That's right.
Yeah, social media is very cool. I love seeing videos like that. I just wish I could make them. I'm sure I could.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
just, it's the time. And it's funny. It's like when I get to site, all of that, sometimes I forget to even take pictures of projects because I show up and I just want to work. I'm there to work. But I guess that is part of it too.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'll be driving away from the job site from like a $3 million home. And I'll just be like, oh,
You
not
forgot?
one picture
Oh no.
today. We'll have a crane there. We'll have we'll have, 16 trucks of materials waiting. We'll have 14 trades on site, on an insane busy day.
Yeah.
And I'm not documenting any of it. And you're just like, you idiot.
Yeah. It's like we need someone just to follow us around with a camera or something.
Yeah. Well, there's people that do that.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And it's coming to that. But yeah, making it into a process or something that, you make sure that you do every day. Cause I find that it's just that consistency, right? And the habit of creating the habit of, can I do this? Can I, how am I going to do it? I think planning, social media is a lot about pre-planning and understanding what we're going to do. But it's like any other skill, right? If I asked you to go skateboarding, you've never skateboarded before, you're going to go out there and
fall
and suck, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of us suck very early on at social media, and it's just through sucking less and less and less until one day you're like, okay, I'm pretty good.
Yeah. I think it's just like a comfort thing too. So you've probably seen my Instagram. There's one, maybe two photos of my face even. So I'm just shy. I'm shy to go on there.
Yeah.
And then it's probably hurting me, my social media right now. But the way I look at it and approach it is it's just a portfolio.
Yeah.
But I know it could be so much more.
Yeah.
And it could be more engaging and informative.
I
hope I'll get there.
Yeah. I think people really, above anything, want to get to know Tyler.
Oh,
Serious, right? So when they get to know you, when they feel like it's really interesting. We have, I think, 30,000 subscribers on YouTube, and there's comments and people that will it's like they will talk to you like they know you, right? Because they watch you, they get connected.
right.
It's how I feel about people that I follow and read and watch and everything like that. So in the one of the best things I've ever heard about social media was like, don't think about creating content. Just document the process. Document what
That's
you
good.
do, right?
Yeah.
Because I always think like, oh, okay, what am I going to create? What idea? What message? What am I going to share? Rather than just like turning on my phone and either talking through what we're doing, not even like thinking about what I'm talking, like, here's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Right. Here's this. Like those ones seem to do the best, and people are watching.
It's real.
And if
right?
that's 100% it, right? Like the real Tyler Barrett, people want to know, people want to watch you work. And I guarantee that if you had somebody videotaping you while you were working and you were just talking about what you were doing, it'd be insane.
As simple as that.
Yeah. Like how, like how do we know how much pressure to apply? Right? Cause like that's a big thing, right? Like your authentic creativity while you're doing this is different than all the other guys that are doing it, because that's just the style, right? You guys all do it differently. You're doing the same thing, but you're doing it differently. So I would watch that.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. Let's dive into jujitsu.
Okay.
Cause one, I want my son to do it because I never did.
Yeah.
And two, I kind of want to do it with him.
Nice. Okay.
So I've been hiding from it because I tore my back a while ago and I'm super not flexible. However, I think it's probably one of the not only coolest, but most practical thing to get into. but you also get to, like, I think it's so much more than that. Like, it's so mental as far as understanding and being aware of yourself, your body, your mind.
Yeah.
I don't know how many things teach you how to be choked out and just like staying calm and trying to figure it out while you're getting choked out.
Yeah. It
Right?
takes a long time. I've been doing it, over 10 years now. I'm still trying to figure it out.
How'd you first get into it?
Originally it was judo. Like I always wanted to get into martial arts. And for whatever reason, judo was it. The club that I was at the time was a judo and jiu-jitsu club. This was in Niagara Falls. But I just kind of took more to the jiu-jitsu. I don't know why. There was so much to it. I just loved the way it's like you're playing chess with your body. And yeah, it's great for physical health, mental health. Teaches discipline, commitment, and humility. So I remember when I first started, only a few months in, maybe not even, I rolled with this 115-pound woman, and she choked the shit out of me. Yeah. And there was nothing I could do. Yeah. I thought I could overpower her, which I could a little bit. Yeah. Her jiu-jitsu was so good that she was able to use the techniques at the right time to off-balance me and put me in really bad positions.
She just flowed with your go.
She did, yeah.
She moved around it, yeah.
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. And so now I train at Balance.
Where is that?
Here in Winnipeg. On Notre Dame and McPhillips.
Okay.
So I'm a purple belt under Professor Matt McDonald.
Okay.
And it's a great club.
Yeah.
You should go.
Any injuries? Like how has it been with your body?
Nothing. Like I get sore. I'm sore all the time.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
But I've never had anything break. Never. Mostly it's just like sore knees, sore shoulders, but I'm physical at work too. So I don't really have a lot of time to rest and recover.
That's fair. Yeah.
But it's one of the safest sports, I think, because you're working with your partner. It is like a competitive fight or match, but you're also helping each other in that if, say we're grappling, I want you to get better so that it's more of a challenge for me, because then I have to get better,
right? Which
will make you better again. And so we just keep building each other up, and we need to keep our training partners safe and healthy, because if we don't have training partners, then we can't practice.
Yep.
So safety is huge. Everyone's very mindful that's there, and it's just become a great little family, really.
Yeah. It sounds like there is a lot of lessons and everything that you can learn from jiu-jitsu that you're applying in, the stresses of opening your own business, hiring employees, trying to think about social media, sales, marketing processes, all these stupid things that come into, owning your own business. I can imagine that having to hire your first employee is very similar to getting choked out and trying to not panic when it feels like that.
Yeah.
So what made you, was it just getting really busy? How did you make this decision to, and tell me about that?
Well, this year was better than last year, because last year I didn't see it coming. And then I was just overwhelmed with work.
Yep.
Working 7 days a week for months. And this year I saw it coming. I think maybe communication was a bit better with the designers, builders, and everything. So the scheduling was there, and I could see, okay, so in a month from now, you're going to be overwhelmed again.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked my friend, David,
Yep.
are you interested in learning this? And he said, yeah, absolutely. Like, he knew that I was doing it for a long time. And
Yep.
I still did have to work quite a bit because I can't just send him to a job on his own right away.
Yep.
He was shadowing me for quite a while. And so I was working more than I needed to, but as soon as we both felt comfortable that he knew what he was doing, then I just started sending him to jobs on his own because I knew he'd be able to do it.
So where do you see the next bottleneck coming? Is it going to be, on the admin side or the office, the paperwork, the bookkeeping, the, all of that, the business back end stuff? Is it going to be in marketing where, if you hire another person, we got to keep everyone busy, or maybe you're just going to keep growing and the jobs are just kind of coming, then it becomes an HR issue and now you have to hire more people.
Yeah. I will just flow.
I like it.
Yeah. It's, and just to go back to jiu-jitsu for a second, it's like someone, say you get mounted, that means someone's on top of you and their legs are around your torso. Very bad place to be. You just want to be here protecting your neck and face.
Yeah.
You start thinking, okay, as long as you're calm, how do I get out of here? And so it's the same with work. When problems start coming, I used to get very overwhelmed and almost shut down for like a day before I could think about it again. Yeah. But now I just
work just choked me out.
It did. Yeah. Yeah. I had to tap out. And now it's just more of an opportunity to learn, because it's like, okay, how can I do this? Or what do I need to do in order to make this happen?
Mm-hmm. Do you think that so this is a skill that you learn? This is like, you weren't always this calm under fire.
No.
Were you always this calm before jiu-jitsu? Or this is just completely learned from that, or getting hammered in work over and over and over?
I've always been pretty calm.
Yep.
But when I was younger, it was more of just shutting down. And now I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think jiu-jitsu helped with that.
Right. So you've been quite successful in this small little niche. Why? What do you think that differentiates you from anyone else doing it? Like, what do you think that how do you approach things differently?
I want it to look like an artistic installation. I don't just put it on the wall. It's like every trowel movement is done with intention. And that was actually very difficult to learn. Because with taping, you want clean lines. Everything's straight and on a grid, basically.
Yep.
Whereas for Venetian plaster, if you do that, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look natural.
Right.
And so you actually have to create purposeful randomness, which is very difficult because not only do we naturally see straight lines, but we're also very repetitive. And that means we're repetitive in our movements.
Right.
And if I make the same trowel angles, it just doesn't look right.
Yeah, patterning.
Yeah. It's like controlled chaos, kind of.
Right. Yeah. Well, cut open a slab of anything and nothing. It's not going to be the same, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I just approach it in that idea that I want it to look as natural as possible, but just like in a very aesthetically pleasing way.
Yeah. Why did you choose to stay in Winnipeg?
Because I love -50. No. Just the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the vibe here. There's just a lot of very talented people that it's like no one knows. There's just so much talent coming from Winnipeg. Where there's artists, doctors, lawyers, anyone.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many people that are so good at what they do here. It's just nice to be around.
Are you still big in the music scene? Do you still? No.
No.
Do you still play guitar?
A little bit. I grew my nails out a little while ago because
Yeah.
I had taken some time off of jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I can't do both at the same time because you need to be able to
Mm-hmm.
finger pick on the
Right.
nylon strings. It was nice to pick it up again, but
Yeah.
I don't play very much anymore.
No. What do you, when you think about Winnipeg and your business, do you think running something would be different in anywhere else? Do you think that it would be any different than Winnipeg?
It would be, not just the the style of what people are getting,
Mhm.
but also I don't know if the how would you say, like the relationship between people in the trades.
Mhm.
I don't think that would be the same.
Hmm.
Because it is very niche here.
Yep.
But if you went somewhere else, there's so much competition and so many people doing it. It might be a little more cutthroat.
Right.
Whereas here, it feels like even though we are in competition with each other, it's a little more communal.
Yeah. Is there anything about plastering, Venetian plaster, drywalling, anything like that, that you think that generally people, is there anything that you want them to know? Like, what do people not know about that you think that they should?
About plaster?
Anything,
Maybe?
yeah.
Well, plaster has tons of benefits.
Okay.
So I was telling you about that, the lime cycle.
Yep.
When it's reabsorbing carbon dioxide during that curing phase.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually purifying the air. If you had your whole room done, it's taking away CO2. And so you're going to have better air. Lime plaster is hypoallergenic. So it's great if you have kids, pets, allergies, anything, it's all safe.
Mm-hmm.
What were the other ones?
What about price point? How does it compare against a lot of other finishes that you've seen, right? Because I imagine, when we considered Venetian plaster versus like, doing millwork on the wall or anything like that, where does that sit?
I would compare it to probably a mid-range tile installation.
Really?
But it always depends. The size, the design, the texture, even how much footage, because obviously if you have tons of footage, the price point can come down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But on very small jobs like, say, a range hood, it's kind of just a baseline price because the material is so expensive.
Yep. Is there places where you don't think that it should be? Is there applications where you wouldn't be putting it?
Never on floors.
Okay.
Yeah. Venetian plaster is good for walls and ceilings, fireplaces, range hoods, maybe a backsplash. We'd have to seal it quite a few times.
Yep.
But then there's also Tadilact, which can go into showers, steam rooms, that kind of thing.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, so Tadilact it's not actually a type of plaster. It's a technique.
Okay.
Tadilac originated in Morocco.
Okay.
And the word means to rub, because they would take these small stones and burnish the plaster with them. I've never been to Morocco. I'd love to go to see these places. But they have all these natural curvatures and the architecture, and it's a very cool phenomenon. So it is lime plaster. It does that same lime cycle, but in that curing stage, you treat it with olive soap. And there's, so okay if I get sciencey again for a second. So there's stearic acid in the soap, and that combines with the free calcium in the lime while it's curing.
Okay.
So there's like a small window of opportunity to do this soap application.
Yep.
And that creates calcium stearate, which is a natural hydrophobic surface. So there's no chemicals, there's no plastics, polyurethane, which you would see in micro cement.
Yeah.
I used to have a lot of questions about micro cement, but I don't want to do it.
What does the substrate look like? Like, what are you putting this on?
Just cement board
Okay.
for that. Yeah. You'd have the prep
Like
would be the
sealed
same
up?
as tile.
Like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we schluter it, we seal it up.
I would, oh yeah, that's the thing too. You could, it works, but if there's any air pockets
Ooh,
or ripples
Yep.
or bubbles, any inconsistencies, that's going to mess up the finish. So I always recommend, you could even use Red Guard.
Okay.
Just a liquid membrane.
Yep.
To waterproof it. Yeah.
I would really like to see that product.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny. So I'm making new sample boxes. I wanted to bring one for you.
Yeah.
They're not ready yet.
Okay.
But I'll make sure that.
Well, you'll have to come back.
Make sure that you get one.
Okay. I'm in. Are you a routine guy?
Yeah.
Take me through your day. What is it? What does your day look like?
Well, I worked quite a bit to get to this point. My days are nice. They're really nice. I wake up usually to no alarm. I take the dog for a walk.
Are you an early riser?
No.
No. Okay.
Usually, I would love to get up at around 6:30.
Yeah.
Because by noon you feel like half the day is wasted.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I'm usually up around 7 or 8.
Okay.
And have coffee with my partner, take the dog for a walk, and then right away I'm on my computer doing emails, administration. I'll go to the studio, make samples, or go to site to do installations. And then that could be one or two jobs a week. And well, I have David now helping me. So then yeah, I just work. And while I'm there, that's what I hated about piecework taping is it was go, 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 go. Just get it done. And I felt like quality suffers when you're in that mindset. So when I get to site, I make sure that, I've had my coffee, I'm well fed, I'm in a good place to start working. I didn't rush to get there. I'm there because I want to be there and I'm ready to be there.
Yep.
And so when I start working, I just feel like that it creates a better finished product because I'm in the right state of mind and I can just do my best work.
Right. Well, you kind of have to be being an artist, right?
Yes,
like
yeah.
as an artist, like your work is going to, it's going to transfer through you as far as like, I bet you that if you were angry, it would be very different than if you were feeling something else.
And
right?
I have done sub jobs where I was angry or upset.
Yeah.
And they looked okay though. But to me, they don't.
Okay. Yeah.
And I actually probably feel like that about every job it's nice to hear because people are like, oh my gosh, it looks beautiful. It looks amazing. And I'm just sitting there thinking, oh, like had I just angled this one trowel line this way, I would have liked it better.
Yeah.
But it's all random anyway.
Yeah.
And that's why every piece is unique.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, funny. Sorry, just hold on one sec.
Yeah.
I actually was talking to a guy I was supposed to go to site. And he asked me, so what time are you going to be here? And I do all my, I kind of take my time in the morning, do my computer email stuff. And so I told him, I'm going to show up around 10 o'clock. And he goes, oh, you're one of those guys. I thought, one of what guys? Like, sure, it's late. Seems late in the day, but there's lots of people that show up at 6, 7 in the morning and have their coffee and stand around, but they're getting paid for it. It's like, I show up when I'm ready to work.
Right. Yeah. Do you meditate at all?
Jiu-jitsu is meditation.
Yeah. I was going to say you probably get into
in some way. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of mind work that goes.
Yeah. If you're not focused on what's happening in the moment,
right,
every moment of that role, you get choked.
Yeah. How much does I refer to you as an artist because what you do is incredible.
Thanks.
How much do you think about, work on versus work off? You can't work 7 days a week. How much time do you take purposeful time off? Do you,
I wish I did more.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were going to do lots of stuff this year. We didn't. We thought about renting cabins, and we did get to do some stuff though, like hiking. Went to Pinawa just to, take some us time.
Yeah.
But
growing a small business.
Yeah,
Hey?
It's frustrating though too, because sometimes you can't, because every site has a schedule and a deadline. And I'm usually one of the last people in there.
Yep.
And so it's like I almost feel obligated. It's like I'm a slave to the schedule sometimes.
Yeah.
There is some flexibility, but yeah. So when there's 3 or 4 jobs that all line up on the same week,
right,
then what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And then that's where David. Yes.
He's
been so much help.
Are you slated for 2? Are you in on those 2 fireplaces? Do you think on the next? We'll have to talk about that. I think we are. Yeah. I'm not sure what product what we talked about, but now that I think about it, I think you're.
Okay. I got to get you that sample box then.
Okay. I like it. I'm really intrigued at is it Tactilite? Is that what you said?
Tadilact.
Tadilact. I wasn't even close. Okay.
It was pretty close.
Interesting. I'm really looking forward to a new product that could look really neat in showers. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that, you've been thinking about kind of, you knew you were coming on, and, is there anything else that I didn't ask you that I should have? Is there anything that you want to talk about?
One sec. I probably have notes here somewhere.
I like it. When did you get tattied up?
It has been ongoing since I was 19.
Really?
Yeah, I'm working. I just have one. Just one
continuous?
One big tattoo.
What is it?
Yeah. It's it's a lot. I guess there's time, right? My left arm is a history piece.
Okay.
This is Lord of Sapan.
Okay.
He was found in, I think, 86 in Peru, and it was like the largest mummy finding since wherever, like this century. It was just huge.
Yeah.
And so this piece is kind of dedicated to that. Have you seen Apocalypto?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're going through that tunnel and then they get their throats cut.
Yep.
And then they drink the blood. That's actually this guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then we got some nicer stuff on this arm.
Yeah.
There's like flowers, waves and stuff.
Yeah.
And then my left leg is an Oni demon, a Japanese demon,
Okay.
cutting off a samurai's head.
Okay.
And then I have a dragon that goes from my entire back down my entire right leg.
Crazy.
And then on my left chest here, there's a snake coming down in my ribs.
How do you, so one of the problems I'm having is I want to get more tattoos. I just don't know what to get.
That's fine.
That's the biggest, like I got one when I was 15 or 16
Okay.
from my cousin in my basement, a Superman tattoo.
Nice.
It was super cool back then.
Yeah. Don't love it now?
Still super cool.
Or is it? Yeah, good.
It's faded like crazy. You can't, right? I don't see it. It's on my back.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I've thought about covering it, but every time I think about what I would want and what I would want to cover it with and how, like, I just kind of blank. How did you choose?
Like I go see Kurt Wiscombe at Tattoos for the Individual.
Okay.
He did the Lord of Sapan here.
Yep.
My left arm. I had my leg and this arm done by other people, but I just loved Kurt's style so much, and so I went back to him, talking about maybe doing a back piece, and ended up just saying, "Okay, just cover me. Just you can do the rest of my body." And I knew I wanted the Japanese theme, so it's not my full front; it's the panels. And I just told him different things I liked. I was like, I like dragons, snakes, peony flowers, this and that. And he's like, okay, I'll just make something for you.
So cool.
So I just give him the ideas and he's the artist.
Yep.
So give him full liberty to create whatever he wants.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
So what do you have any plan? Have you thought about where you want Prairie Plaster to go?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully, if it continues to get busy, I could have, in the next few years, have maybe 2 or 3 people installing, which would free up some time for me to do more of the samples and corresponding with everyone. So I might be a little hands off, just take on the ones that I really want to do, or like if there's larger jobs where we all have to work together, then we can do that. But that plus jiu-jitsu is just very hard on the body, and almost 40, starting to feel it. And I know I won't be able to do it forever. So
I noticed it was like my 30th birthday. It was like it was just clockwork, right? You turn 30 and
you
just
woke up.
What is that? Like, this isn't right. Honey, did you hit me or something?
Yeah.
What is this?
And then I'm told it's the same thing at 40.
Really?
You just wake up. 40 years old, something else.
Look at that, hey?
Yeah.
You knew you were coming on, and is there anything else that I didn't ask you? Is there anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I don't know where to start actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been very difficult doing all these things, and I was even nervous coming here today, even though we've met before.
Yeah.
Like, I know you.
Yeah.
But this is a new situation, being behind the microphone.
Yeah, this is your first podcast.
Yeah. And you've probably noticed that I haven't been making lots of eye contact with you. And when I do, I'm trying. But I am autistic.
Really?
Yeah. It was a very late diagnosis. Like late 20s. And it explained a lot of like the frustration and struggling growing up with different situations and trying to understand and connect with people.
Yeah.
But I've gotten a lot better. Lots of lots of therapy, years and years.
Yeah.
And it's just really helped to kind of change my perspective and give me better skills, especially when it's communicating with people or avoiding those shutdowns and meltdowns.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you found that jiu-jitsu has played a big part in all that? For being able to overcome a lot of the...
I don't know. Just time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just time.
Time and practice, like reps. Like do you think that if you were on this podcast every day, that by the third week you'd just be...
Yeah, because it's repetition is nice.
Yep.
And just kind of knowing what to expect helps as well. Yeah, that's why I could talk for hours about plaster and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And maybe not much else. Little, like, I get kind of uncomfortable talking about myself too personally.
Yeah.
But it's just getting better at everything.
So when you were dialed in, like even guitar,
Oh, that was my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a teenager, I did not go out and party. I was in my room in the basement 8 hours a day playing guitar.
Really?
That was all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And friends would call, "Hey, we're going here. Do you want to come out?" And I said, "I can't." Because it was just hyper focused on one thing. That is all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And now it's plaster.
That's awesome.
So that's been helping drive the business.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's weird being in business, but definitely helps.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. Like you've found not only a product, but a place to have it that wants it, right? Like the higher end homes. And I think that, yeah, it's just going to keep getting bigger. So I think that hyper focus is definitely going to play on in your favor here.
Yeah. So it's good. Too. It's like, kind of entrepreneurs need that type of focus. And I never really question whether or not it's going to work out or, oh, what if I fail? Those are never thoughts in my mind. And it's not even that I think I'm going to succeed either. It's just, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. There's times when I actually forget to look at the downside, like at the associated risks, because I'm very similar. And like, if I want to do it, I'm probably just going to do it.
Yeah.
That's what made me not really that employable anymore.
Oh.
Is that I was just like, no, I don't. My wife's like, you don't like people telling you what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I just want to do what I want to do.
That's what helped you jump out of the plane this morning.
That's very true.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you sharing about what you do, how you do it, and your plans to continue. Of my 4 brothers, I'm probably the least artistic of them all. Oh. And so I'm always in awe of, people that are really able to tie that into what they do. And I get that passion from you in this. So it's really cool. I mean, from the second you originally took me through Venetian plaster, I was sold from just like how much, you believed in it and how good the product looks. So I really appreciate it. I think that it's going to continue to get even bigger, and I'm excited to have you working on our projects too.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Come back anytime. and, appreciate you sharing.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.